Fool me once, fool me twice. When you're hiding things, might as well be lies. Can you ever get it right? How long will I let this shit?
All right, so the end of the year is here, and today I don't have behind the scenes or photo shoot or anything I want to share with you guys today. But what I want to do is I just want to talk briefly about the year 2022, how things have been for me, how I've looked at things as far as my photography, and plans that I have going forward into 2023. But I just wanted to, I don't know, I just wanted to come up here and just kind of give like a brief synopsis of my year. So I just started this channel 4 or 5 months ago, maybe a little bit longer. I can't remember the exact start date. I think I got about 20 or so videos on the channel. This isn't my first YouTube channel. I have another YouTube channel, the DL Jones Show, where I talk about movies, TV shows, all types of entertainment type subjects. I kind of got burnt out on that one and gave it a break, and that's when I started this channel. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about photography. So this year, 2022, has been a really, really good year for me. I want to say about 2 years ago, that's when I really started wanting to get into really trying to push my photography as a business and as a hobby, both. I wanted to push them both forward. I started taking on client work. I started doing portrait shoots and meeting up with models and doing stuff like that. And I started it last year in 2021. I started doing that, but in 2022 I really ramped up a lot more than I did in 2021. It was like at some point I realized I could be doing more, and that happened like early 2022, and then I just started pushing. And I ended up doing a lot more. I feel like the quality of my images have gotten a lot better since I've been doing this, since I made the big push this year. And I've learned a lot, and I've gained a lot of experience. It's funny how when you start trying to push towards something, which I wouldn't necessarily say I had a goal. I just know I wanted to do more, you know. And it's funny when you start trying to push towards something, how quickly you can advance, you know, how quickly you can get better at those things. And I feel like, and I can see that, especially this year. I saw it a little bit last year, but especially this year, I saw it a lot. But if you look way back at the beginning, you scroll all the way down to where I first started posting on Instagram, and then look at my more recent stuff, you can see a pretty significant difference in the quality of my work. And it's thanks to a lot of things. You know, I'm a tech person. My day job is in IT. I've always been a tech person. I've always been in and around working with equipment and computers and software and stuff like that. So I'm one of those people that, you know, I like to see things that I want to do and figure out how to do it and then do it. I'm one of those people, you know. Even if I don't have what is supposedly needed to do that thing, I'm going to figure out another way to do it. You know, I've always been that type of person, you know, and it comes in, and I really find that it comes in like that, the type of person I am when it comes to that. It comes in a lot when it comes to photography. You know, like if I see like a certain look that I want, you know, I want to try to get a certain look, you know, as far as my images, or maybe a certain shoot or something like that. You know, I kind of analyze it. I look at examples of things that I want, you know, and I analyze it, and I try to figure out what is needed to make that happen. And then I look at what I have, and I'm like, what out of the things that I have, what can I do with that that I can use to make that happen, you know? And sometimes, you know, sometimes you come up with stuff, you know. Every once in a while, you get in a situation where it's like, okay, I just can't do this unless I get this piece of equipment. But a lot of times you can find alternative ways of doing things. So some of the things that I've done this year that I've really ramped up is taking on more client work. At the beginning of the year and sort of like last year, a lot of the stuff that I was doing was like the model shoots, the stuff that you like to show off. I said in the video before that I was like, the model shoots are fun. Those are the shoots that you want to show off, because those are the ones where you have the person that has the modeling skills and they got on the outfits and the makeup and they're looking all pretty and you get these pretty, those are the things you take pictures of and you want to show off. Not to say that the client shoots and all the other shoots can't also be that, but the model shoots is more of a controlled situation when it comes to getting those type of results. You know, you kind of don't always know what you're going to get with a client shoot. You know, you go to do a kid's birthday party, you know, you never know what kind of environment, you know, you're going to be in. You don't know, you know, you show up and you may have an environment where one place is like no lights, no lighting anywhere. And then the other place, another spot is super bright light. And all of the people that you're supposed to be trying to cover in are going back and forth between those two spots. And you don't have control. You just got to try to work it out and make it work, you know. And it takes skill to do that too. I'm still building those skills because I like to have an environment where I can control it and work that environment. When you get in those unpredictable environments, you know, I still got to work on that. I still got to build that part of my skill up too, you know. And you only do that, like I said earlier in this video, you only do it with practice. You do it with practice, you do it with research. You know, a lot of people leave out the research part. Whenever you need to do something, find somebody else that does it and see how they do it. You might not have to do exactly what they do, but you could take tips from them. You could take different bits and pieces from what you see and try to apply it to what you're doing. And then after you test it out for a while, you can see what things that you know, pick up from other people that works with you. So yeah, so this year I've done weddings, I've done birthday parties, I've done family photo shoots, I've done brand photo shoots, which I actually have a video on this channel of a brand photo shoot that I showed the behind the scenes of. I mean, I've done a lot of different variety of photo shoots. I've done boudoir, which that's something that I have never done before until I would say recently, very, very recently. You know, there's a lot of different things that I've done this year, and that's because I kind of decided I want to do these things this year, and I just started doing it. You know, and the thing about it is I did it on my own. I didn't ask for no help or nothing like that. I just did it. I'm that type of person. You know, I'm not the type of person that's going to sit back and wait for somebody else to hand me things to do. I'm going to figure out what I need to do it, and I'm going to do it. And I feel like that's a good way to be. You know, another thing I did this year that was really, it's hit and miss, and I'm going to get into a part of this video that I want to talk about in a second. But another thing I did was gear. Like if you look at my videos and you pay attention to a lot of the things that I talk about, which I'll be honest, I haven't done a whole lot of talking about my gear, just mentions here and there. But one thing that I've done is I've tried to get things without spending a whole lot of money, you know. A lot of the things and that's one thing when you want to try a lot of different things, you can go out there and spend tons of money on things just trying it out and it don't work for you and you done wasted that money, you know. And I've done some of that this year. Well, not tons of money, but I've done a lot of that this year. And last year. But like you see, I primarily use this camera. This is the Canon RP, which this is a budget camera. You know, this is a entry line mirrorless full frame camera in the Canon EOS R line, the RF with the RF mount. When I first got this camera and I started doing photos, taking pictures with it and stuff, I was doing the same stuff I've always done. Like I'm kind of haven't been honest with people. Like when I've met people at photography meetups and stuff like that, you know, they ask me how long I've been shooting and I'll tell them like a year or so, like that, 2 years, or depending on when that meeting was. And it's not really an honest answer because I actually started in 2012. And it's a longer story to this, and I might can go into it in another video, but I'll just give you the brief story. So in 2012, I ran into a situation where I wanted a really nice camera, and I did some research. The Sony Nex brand had just came out. They had just started their mirrorless brand, the Nex brand. I think the one that I got was the Nex 5, and I went and bought that. And that's when my photography started, because when I got that camera, It was completely different than what I was expecting. I was expecting to buy a camera and it would be a nice camera and I would just go out and take pictures and the pictures would be nice, you know. But that was a completely different thing. I learned how to use that camera. I learned a lot about photography at that time, but I never really thought of it as anything I would do for anything other than just random snapshots of things that I see while I'm about. Now, I did go on like photo walks and stuff just by myself, pretty much street photography style things. I had an actual Flickr account at one time where I would post my images. This is way back, which I don't even remember the username for that account anymore. I wish I did, because I would like to go back now and check to see what those images look like compared to my work today, which I know is probably horrible. But yeah, I did that. So that was 12 years ago. So I actually started 12 years ago. Now, I can't say I've been doing this the whole time since 2012. I had moments where I didn't do anything. I sold that camera at one point with plans to rebuy it, but I never did rebuy it, and so it wasn't like I was doing photography for 12 years straight, but I did start 12 years ago. It wasn't like I just started, like how I was kind of making people think, not purposely. It's just that when these people asked me the questions, this was when I was doing portrait shoots, shooting models and stuff like that, and would meet other photographers at meetups. And the truth was, I had just started doing that. I had never shot, back all of that time, I was never shooting models or nothing like that. I was just doing like street photography, stuff like that, But yeah, but like I said, I've been working with this camera for about 2 years now, this RP, and I've gotten pretty good with it. I feel like I have. I don't know. Some people may not think so. I don't know. It's all subjective. I feel like I've gotten pretty good with it. I feel like I'm at the point where I need to upgrade. I'm probably way past that point. But I feel like that if you look at some of my work, you would never know I'm using a budget camera, But yeah, but like I was saying about the gear, so once I started doing a lot of different stuff, what ended up happening with me is that I started buying a lot of lenses. And like I said, I'm trying to do things without spending a whole lot of money. So I was buying like used lenses and stuff like that. And I would say over the last year and a half, I may have bought 10 lenses, probably more than that. I'm probably a little bit embarrassed to tell you how many lenses I bought. I actually know the number, because the other day when I was thinking about this video, I actually counted out every single lens I bought. What I have now, I'm just down to these 3 lenses right here. My Canon 85, Canon 85 1.8, my Tamron 24-70 G2, and the lens that's on this camera, which I've kind of become my favorite lens, is my Tamron 45mm SP, 1.8 SP, with the vibration control. And these are all EF lenses. The camera's an RF mount, but I have the EF mount adapter so that I can use EF lenses. But I've had so many different lenses because I would be like, I want to do this type of shot. I need this type of lens. So I would buy that lens. I'll buy it used. It's not like I was going broke buying lenses, but it was still wasting a lot of money. So I would buy the lens. And to go into how I feel about that, like right now I'm down to my 3 favorite lenses, which one I probably use 90% of the time, but I'm not going to get rid of the other 2 because I have use for them. This 85, I mean, this is pretty much the standard Canon 85mm 1.8, and they take really good pictures. I know that there are better lenses than this out here in this focal length, but until I get one of those, I'm keeping this lens because it's awesome for what it is, And then this Tamron 24-70 G2, and to be honest with you, this is a lens that, I do a lot of research, watch other YouTube videos, and this is a lens, this 24-70 G2. This is one that photographers really rave about. And I'll be honest with you, I'm really disappointed with it. I don't really like it. I don't like how the images look, but the focal length is a needed focal length. When I'm doing birthday parties, if I do a wedding or something, this comes in handy. You know what I'm saying? Being able to go back and forth, without having to run around, risking missing a shot and stuff. This comes in handy, so I will not get rid of it unless I get something that's better to replace it. And I'm saying it's not bad. I'm just not. Every time I do a shoot with this lens and I'm editing the images, I'm just not. I'm not happy. It just seems like, I don't know. I'm not happy. Maybe I need more practice with it. Maybe that's what I need to do. Another thing is maybe it doesn't work well with the RP, because I have another photographer friend that shoots with this lens exclusively, and she uses a Canon EOS R6, and her images look like how I want mine to look. But I can't get mine to look like that. You know what I'm saying? So maybe it's the body. Maybe it's the RP just not able to get what I need to get out of this Tamron, with the RP. Maybe I need an upgrade. Maybe I need to upgrade my my body, my camera body. And we'll see, because I'll probably do that. I'm thinking about doing that the first half of 2023. I'm planning on upgrading this lens, not the lens, this camera body. I want to get the R6 Mark II, and maybe I'll feel differently about this Tamron 24-70 G2 once I get a new body. I don't know. But right now, I'm just the images. I'm just not happy with them. And I did go through a bout of getting a bad one of these lenses first, traded it in, and got one that did work as it should, but I'm still just not quite happy with the images. Now this lens right here, the Tamron, and it ain't the brand, because this is a Tamron. I love this lens right here. This is the Tamron 45 millimeter. What is this? The 45 millimeter 1.8 SP, and it's the one with vibration control. And it's actually a lens that I think is now discontinued. It's the EF lens. I think it is now discontinued. You can still buy new ones from stores that still have it in stock, but I think Tamron has discontinued this lens. But I really like this lens. You know what I'm saying? And it's so weird because it's 45 millimeter focal length. I wasn't sure how that was going to work. Like, I've shot with 50 and I've shot with 35, but I wasn't sure how 45 would work. But to me, the 45 feels like the 85, but just a little bit closer. It feels like you get the same framing and the same view and everything as the 85, but a little bit closer. Maybe not as much compression as the 85, but I really like this lens. I like the images it produces. It gives me an amount of sharpness that I'm really happy with. And it works pretty well. It's I don't have no problem with focusing or nothing like that, other than the normal. I feel like, and I'll tell you, I've learned a little bit about focusing in the last meetup I went to. But I feel like this camera, this RP, the autofocus engine in this camera is, I think it's their first generation or something like that. They've improved it on the more, if you start stepping up in their EOS line. But I've been using this and I've gotten used to this. So I felt like this was good until I went to a meetup recently, a photo walk, not a meetup, but a photo walk hosted by Brandon Cole. Another one of the people that helped me out a lot as far as getting information from him, watching him and trying to learn from him. He had a photo walk, and it's in a town that's close to where my family lives, so I went there. And during that time at the photo walk, my battery on this, all my batteries that I brought had died. It was still some time to go, so he let me borrow his camera. He had a Sony A1. And that, when I started using that camera, that really made me realize I need to upgrade. I never really felt like I needed to upgrade my body until I started using that camera. The autofocus on that was it just made me realize how much I do actually fiddle with the autofocus on this to get it to work. I've done it the whole entire time, so I was used to it, and I was like, that's just how it is. And I'm not saying it's bad, but you do have to fiddle with it. You got to hit the screen. Sometimes you got to hit the screen on the face before it pulls the eye and all of that. You got to fiddle with it sometimes. And I just thought that that's just how it is. He let me hold his camera. I did about a good 30, 40 minutes using his camera. And it was just nice to just touch that trigger and it snaps right on the eye, you know, and it just stays there. And if the person moves, it snaps right back. It was just nice, and it just made me realize how much better it could be, you know, if I do a little bit of an upgrade somewhere. You know, I might not be able to get that A1 autofocus because I think that's like a $6,000 camera. I'm not there yet, you know. Even going up to the what I want, which is the Canon R6 Mark II, even going there, I'm probably going to see a very noticeable difference compared to what I'm used to using with this RP. So that's something. So as far as equipment, one thing I've noticed about is going in the new year. Not one thing I noticed, but one thing I'm going to do going into the new year is if I want to try a lens, let's say I come up with an idea, and I do this all the time. I'm always thinking. I'm always coming up with ideas. If I come up with an idea, I want to do this. Let's say I want to do some real estate photography. You know what I'm saying? I need this type of lens. You know, I'm not going to go out there and just buy this type of lens. That's what I was doing before. And then I would get the lens and I would use it and I'd be like, this isn't really what I wanted, and this isn't really working how I wanted it to work. Or I don't really want to do real estate photography, so now I got this lens that I'm never going to use. You know, I don't want to do that anymore. So what I'm going to do from now on in 2023, instead of just coming up with an idea and going out and buying the lens, I'm going to start renting lenses. I used to think renting lenses was a waste because I'm like, why are you going to spend money on something that you use for a couple of days? Then if you decide to buy it, then that means you didn't spend whatever that lens cost to buy and that money that it cost to rent it to try it out. But, and that's still true, but I think it's worth it to rent it. Even if you rent it, don't like the lens and send it back, you're out of your $50, you're out of your $60, you're out of your $80, however much it costs to rent the lens for however, you know, many days you want. Doing that, you're out of that amount of money is still a lot better than just buying a lens, buying a $500, $600, $700, $800 or even more lens, and it don't work for you. And now you just got this paperweight, this expensive paperweight sitting on your counter, you know. And then you have to try to worry about trying to sell it or trade it. You're not going to get what you paid for it when you sell it or trade it. You know, you got to go through all of that hassle. I'm going to start renting the lenses. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rent that R6 Mark II. That's my first thing. I'm trying to schedule it on a weekend where I have a few shoots so that maybe I can rent it, do a couple shoots with it, make a couple YouTube videos using it, you know, stuff like that, you know. So I'm planning on doing that in January sometime. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use the lenses that I already have with that or go ahead and rent a nice lens with it also. I almost don't see the point in renting a nice lens with it because if I do buy it, I'm not going to have that nice lens. I'm going to have what I have. So maybe I should just rent the camera and use what I have. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments what you think I should do in that situation. All right, so another thing, and this will be the last thing I'm going to talk about this year. Another thing I'm going to do this coming year, and I've kind of already started it a little bit. Like I said, you know, I made a big push in 2022 to do more. You know what I'm saying? To do more shoots, do more different types of shoots, get more experience and all of that kind of stuff. And I did that, you know what I'm saying? And I've had a lot of great experiences. But with anything in life, whenever you do more, you will get more good experiences, but you will also get some bad experiences. And I've had my fair share of bad experiences. They don't outweigh the good experiences, but I've had some very bad, not very bad, but I've had some very annoying experiences. And this really comes in with who I pick to do photo shoots with. One thing I've learned this year is that you don't have to do photo shoots with everybody that ask you to do a photo shoot or that you see that you think you might want to do a photo shoot with. You know, you don't have to do them with everybody. And one thing I said a while ago is that, a couple months ago, was that I'm going to scale back some of my shoots. Not overall, but as far as my model shoots, I'm going to scale back some of those. Because while I met a lot of great models and had a lot of fun, had a lot of good experiences, I've had a lot of bad experiences too. I've had a lot of people scheduling and canceling and scheduling and not showing up. And just all across the board, I've had bad experiences. Just unreliable, disrespectful people, you know. And when I say disrespectful, I don't mean that they said something disrespectful to me, but I feel like if you are working with somebody and you schedule something and you guys have a plan and you don't show up and don't say anything, I feel like that's disrespectful. That's the utmost disrespect. And I've been in situations where that has happened multiple times, you know. And not only has it happened, but those same people that would do that will wait about a week and then will send you a message and be like, when are we going to do our shoot? Like they didn't do that a week ago. You know what I'm saying? And just for my mental health, I just have to limit. Well, I wouldn't say limit. I have to be selective on who I do shoots with. A lot of times when you start talking to somebody, let's say you approach somebody or they approach you and you're talking about trying to plan a shoot, you kind of know. You kind of know in that first conversation what you're going to get. Sometimes people surprise you, but most of the time you kind of know. It's like when I'm finished that first conversation, it's like I can walk away from that conversation saying, this person is not going to show up. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's just like that. Or if this person show up, I'm not going to have a good experience with this person. And sometimes that happens, and sometimes you see it. You see it ahead of time, and you know it going into it. But like in my situation, I want to do the shoot. I want to get the practice in. I want to get the shots. So I still go through with it and be like, okay, I'm just going to think positive and try to see if this is going to work out. And then when it doesn't, I'll be like, you know, I knew it. I don't know why I wasted my time. And the bad thing about those situations like that, I was explaining to a friend a couple of weeks ago, is that if once you schedule something with somebody, let's say you have a shoot booked with somebody. Now, let's say Saturday at 12 o'clock, you got a shoot booked with somebody. So now that Saturday at 12 o'clock, you are unavailable to everybody else. So anybody else that's like, I want to book you at 1 o'clock. I want to book you at 2. I want to book you at 11 for a birthday party, for a wedding, for this, for that. You can't do it because you are already obligated to do a shoot with someone that you have given your word to, that you're going to be there, and they're giving their word to you that they're going to be there and you're going to do a shoot. So that time frame is off the books for anything else, you know, and I stick to that because I believe in, you know, I'm not going to say I'm always perfect, but I believe in trying to keep my word. You know, I grew up in a time where your word still meant something. A lot of people these days didn't grow up like that. But I did. I grew up in a time where your word still means something. You know, if I say we got plans on this day for this shoot, then I'm going to try to be there. You know, to me, that's what my plans are. You know, so if somebody else wants to do a shoot at that time, I'm like, okay, I can't do it then. I try to come up with alternatives. But when you get in situations like that and you turning away jobs, turning away money, turning away opportunities because you think you already have an opportunity, then that person not only not shows up, but don't even let you know. They just don't show up and don't say anything, don't respond to anything. It's just so, it's messed up. You know what I'm saying? It's so inconsiderate, you know, and it happens so many times. And I think the people that do it, they don't realize how inconsiderate they are. You know, some of them might be watching this video right here and have done it, you know, several times, and they don't realize how inconsiderate they are. They just probably just think it's funny that now when they send me messages for shoots, I don't really say much to them because I ain't trying to shoot with them anymore, you know. But yeah, that's another thing going into 2023. I gotta figure out a way to try to lessen that happening to me. And the way that I think that I'm going to do it is, and it's sad to say, I might just start working with the same people all the time. You know, I got a few models that are loyal, that are good for me. And I kind of feel like I'm just going to start working with the same people all the time. I don't need a whole bunch of different models. It's fun to have a whole bunch of different models, but I don't need it. You know what I'm saying? You know, I get about 3 or 4 good models that's reliable. And I'm happy, you know. Maybe I'll add on an extra new person here and there, you know, but I'm happy, you know, with that, you know. Because most of my shoots are not the model shoots anyway. Most of my shoots are going to be the client shoots, you know, the stuff that nobody sees, you know. But I gotta have my model shoots because that's fun. That's fun. That's what you like to show off. That's what get the views. That's what you got to do it. That's where I get my practice in. That's where I learn things. That's where I apply things that I've learned. So I got to do those, but I gotta do it in a way where I'm not going crazy dealing with inconsiderate, disrespectful people. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. And it's a thing it's a photographer that I've watched for a while, John Branch. He does mostly wedding photography, but I've been watching his videos for a few years now. And one good thing about his videos is that he also looks at the business aspect of being a photographer. You know what I'm saying? It's not just, you can, if you're not a wedding photographer, you still can learn a lot from his videos. And one thing he said, which I never thought about before until he said it, it was like, he said that when a new client approached him seeking him out to try to decide if they want to hire him for a wedding, he said he meets with that person. And he says that when you meet with that person, they look at it like they're evaluating you, but he said you are also evaluating that person because every client is not your client. And he says that he has met with people and talked with them and knew that person was not a good fit for them and told them, I'm sorry, but I don't think you're a good fit for me. I'm going to recommend you to another photographer. And it seems weird. You turning away money like that, but it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I've had to do that. I've had to do that. I've had to do that with client shoots. I've done it with a couple shoot not too long ago. You know what I'm saying? Somebody was looking for, I forgot, they was looking for a specific type of shoot that I don't do. And they was like saying, I want this, this, and this. And I was like, this isn't what I do. And finally, I just had to tell the person, I'm sorry, this isn't, I hope you find what you're looking for, but I don't think I'm the photographer for you. You know what I'm saying? And that's just something I'm going to have to do more of because, you don't run into that situation a whole lot, but sometimes you do need to just be honest and be like, look, I'm not the photographer for what this person is looking for, But yeah, I know I've talked a lot, but I didn't really have a whole lot to say. It's just that my main two things going into 2023 is that I want to get a hold on how I deal with gear. And that is going to involve renting instead of just going out and buying things when I have an idea. And I got to get a hold of dealing with model shoots, the models that flake and all of that kind of stuff. And I think what I'm going to do with that, sad to say, is I think I'm just going to limit who I work with. I just got to be more selective over who I work with. And I have to just find models that are outside. Like I've done things where I've just saw someone who wasn't a model at all and did a shoot with them. Pretty much made them a model. You know what I'm saying? I might have to do some kind of stuff like that, creative, to get like a new face, may still be a good person to work with. You know what I'm saying? You might not get the modeling skills. You may have to, kind of place every move that they make to get the poses that you want. But to me, I'm fine with that as long as I get my peace of mind. I'm not sitting outside of the spot waiting for somebody that's not showing up and not responding to messages and not answering the phone. You know what I'm saying? That is about it. 2022 was a pretty good year for me as far as photography. And I'm planning on making 2023 a better year. And I'm glad that you guys have stayed tuned, watched this. If you've gotten this far, I'm looking forward to the new year. Good things coming. I still got a lot of shoots that I've done that I haven't shown yet, So I still got leftover stuff. Well, I wouldn't say leftover, but stuff that I haven't finished yet that I need to finish up and then start posting and making videos about and all of that kind of stuff. I still got that stuff. I'm pretty positive on the new year. And I want to say thank you to the people that's been here so far. And if you haven't yet, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Share it, all kinds of stuff, But yeah, Happy New Year.
I'ma make some and I'ma spend it. Yeah, new Jeep, no doors with it.